Hey guys, this is Lucas, otherwise known as Yukasabe, and today I'm going to go over how I make these illustrations from fountain pen ink. Now obviously, if you look at this, it looks pretty complex, but let's just zoom, get it focused. If you actually look at the colours in there, you get a lot of nice clashing, and it's literally because I'm using, a few different inks, and you can actually use different inks for different kind of colour outcomes. So here's an example of like two different colours. So yeah, you can get really interesting stuff, and it's why I got into ink, because you can experiment with different colours. And can you see this one's way more purple, this one's way more blue. So I just thought I'd make a little video going over this kind of technique, how I do it, what pens I use, answering all the kind of frequently asked questions I get about this stuff on Reddit and whatever else. So I can link people this video. The first thing that I wanted to cover is the paper. Now this is a Daler Rowney graduate sketchbook, A5, fountain pen nib on the front there, and you can see how cheap these are. Yeah, there's a few different types of them. This one's $117, and they're all basically the same thing. And the reason why it works this cheaply is because I burn through sketchbooks like crazy. So like this was some sketching I was doing last night, and I burned through about 6 pages in 40 minutes. So I go through these very quickly, from all sorts of stuff, videos, sketching. See, there's another guy. So I burn through these very fast. I'll go through like one every week and a half. Not actually, no, it's less than that. It must be about 4 days. So I go through these a lot. So to me, it's pretty essential that I have a nice sketchbook that's cheap, affordable, and works with ink. And I think this is the perfect one, in my opinion. You can have your own, but I really like this paper. So that's Daler Rowney graduate sketchbook. In this video, I'm going to be using 3 pens. So the first is let me just focus. So this is a Twsbi Mini AL Gold, and it's a tiny little pen. It's really small, and I have this inked with Diamine Aurora Borealis, and that's the first pen. That's a medium nib, and it's really nice. Pen number 2, quite a bit more expensive, and this is a really beautiful pen. This is a Montegrappa Merry Copper Skulls. They're pretty rare, but they're very cool. And this is a fine nib, and you can see the light flashing off that. This is a really nice pen to sketch with. It's got a lot of feedback to it, but it's not scratchy. And I have this inked with Mont Blanc, the Beatles Psychedelic Purple, which I'll link a review to in the description. I made a review where I do more art with just this one pen, and that ink. And the final one, this is a Pilot Custom Heritage 91, the brown version, and this is a Japanese fine, which is like a Western extra fine. It's a tiny nib, but it's really beautiful for adding like tiny details in. So basically, I'm going to use these 3 pens with those inks. Actually, I forgot to add. So Aurora Borealis, this has Mont Blanc Psychedelic Purple, and this has Diamine Ammouranth, and that's the combination that I'm going to be using for today's sketch. I'm actually going to be working on a commission, so I'm going to go a bit slower than I normally do, but normally, I bosh these out pretty fast, but commission work, you want to take your time a bit more, be a bit neater. So I'm using these 3 pens for today, and we'll see how the artwork goes. So just before I actually get started on the video, I thought I'd make a little thing telling you what I'm actually going to be doing. So I'm going to be inking this piece today. I'm not going to be showing anything else in that, just the inking process. I'll time lapse it, I think. And I use this pencil. So this is a Pelikan D400 with just a blue lead. It's a 0.7mm mechanical pencil. Use this. This is a client work, so I'm going to be taking my time a bit more, and I'll show you, some shots after I've actually finished the final work. But now I'm going to jump over to a time lapse and show you the process, how I do this while I chat about it. So yeah, let's go do that. So now onto the time lapse. So first I'm using the Montegrappa, so this is the Psychedelic Purple ink. It's kind of a fine stub nib as well, and I'm just inking the entire piece, going over all the lines, trying to get some nice artwork. I'm working pretty fast though. I'm going to put in a watch here, so I'm working pretty fast. You can see kind of the pace that I'm taking to accomplish a piece of art like this. and I'm working fast because I don't want the ink to literally completely crisp up on the paper, and at the same time I kind of want it to dry. So you want to do these in about 45-50 minutes. At the end of the day, this technique is for sketching in my opinion. Next, the Twsbi with the Aurora Borealis, which is kind of like a teal, and the purple and the teal blend really well in my opinion. It's fun to use on its own, but when you introduce more colours, you know, maybe a pink or a yellow, it really changes the whole entire piece. So here I'm just outlining like the overall body. Then you go in with a tiny nib that's got the pink, and that's where I'm adding in the tiny little details you can see. Finally, the water brush, and literally all I'm doing is blocking in the main areas where I want the colour to go. I'm basically telling the ink where I want it to bleed, and that is it. It's doing the rest for me. And all these colours break down together to give the most beautiful kind of art style that I think is just so original and so unique, and I don't really see anywhere else. So there you go. There's like 15 different colours in this piece, because each of the 3 colours, they break down with, you know, the other inks. They break down into their own colours, but then they bleed with the other inks and mix like ink that you've never seen before, or colours that you've never seen before, colours that inks that don't exist. So you're kind of inventing your own inks that bleed with each other and move with each other, and it just creates such beautiful original art, and it's such a cool technique. I just kind of made it up myself by happy accident, but I'm sure there's other people that have done this before. But you can see there, I'm not telling the ink like I want pink in this area, I want blue in this area. I'm letting it go wherever it wants. I'm letting it bleed intentionally, and this is the result that you get. The Beatles ink specifically, it bleeds off a lot of purple, but it holds its lines very well, as you can see. And when you reinforce them with the Aurora Borealis, they bleed less. So that's the end of the video. So you can try this with other inks, orange, yellow, green. Try that one out. Try out different combinations, put them in the comments below and help out other people, help out me. I'm still very new to kind of doing this. I've probably done about 6 like this. But yeah, so that's the end of the video. You can see the amount of colour that you get out of it. It's a great technique, something fun to try. You don't have to do it like as refined as I am. You can do it in a little urban sketch. But yeah, so that's the end of the video. Follow me on my socials, and I'll see you for the next video. So bye.